Who would you consult to treat a fear of crowded places, a philosopher or a psychologist? Psychologist. There are two main ways to pay for goods bought in a shop, one is by cash, the other is by credit card. How do you call a student that has finished his first year? Sophomore. What kind of book is written by a person about their own life? Autobiography. Who is a person that makes bread, cakes and pastries? Baker. What is it called when two or more people are speaking to each other? Conversation. What is the job of someone that looks after your teeth and gums? Dentist. On what geographical location would someone be living if their country is surrounded by water on all sides? Island. What we call it when the moon completely blocks out the light from the sun? A solar eclipse. What do we call a period of 10 years? Decade. What do you call a specialist who repairs leaking water pipes? Plumber. What is the most important document you would have to show if you were to hire a car? Driver's license. Which hospital department would you go for an X-ray, radiology or cardiology? Radiology. What is the joint called where your hand is connected to your arm? Wrist. If a building is 1,000 meters high, from where do we measure the height? Sea level. Where do passengers stand waiting for a train in the railway station? Platform. How do butterflies fly? Flutter. A manufacturing process releases poisonous gases. What is the most important safety measure for workers at this plant? Ensuring good ventilation, or appropriate footwear? Ensuring good ventilation. What do you need to submit for completing a degree in the university? Dissertation. What key mineral makes seawater different from fresh water? Salt. Where would you expect to find equipment like microscopes, a Bunsen burner, beaker and Petri dish? Laboratory. What do we call a machine which carries people from one floor to another in a high building? Lift. What is the name of the field of study that studies the human mind and behavior? Psychology. In a recession, does economic activity increase or slow down? Slow down. To which of our sense do all of the following words relate? Opaque, vivid, brilliant, shiny. Vision. How many years does it typically take to finish undergraduate study? 3 years. Some calendars begin the week on Sunday. What is the other day which commonly starts a week? Monday. What is the economic sector that deals with farming? Agriculture. What is the antonym of vertical? Horizontal. What kind of liquid do mammals feed their babies? Milk. How many extra days in February in a leap year? 1 inch. How many years are there in a decade? 10 years. What is the meeting point of sea and sky called? Horizon. How do you describe the type of magazine that is published 4 times a year? Quarterly. How do you call the 2 siblings born by a mother at the same time? Twins. How do we call the car that uses 2 types of fuels? Hybrid. If a button has come off a shirt, what would someone most likely use to put it back on? Needle. What do we call the piece of paper that proves you have bought an item? Receipt. What is the famous canal linking the Mediterranean Sea with the Indian Ocean? Suez. How many times a year is a quarterly journal published? 4 inch. What do we call the liquid which is in a car? Gasoline. In statistics, what is a circle divided into many parts called? Pie chart. What is the ceremony called for marriage? Wedding. What is the opposite of division in mathematics? Multiplication. What is the collection of pictures called? Album. Which kind of book can we find Africa maps? Atlas. What do we call the animals with white ivory and long trunk? Elephant. Which one is past tense, has gone, went or going? Went. What is the thing you touch when you play the guitar? Strings. What is the opposite to predecessor? Successor. What does a sundial measure? Time. What is a part of the digestive system and is essential for churning food? Stomach. What kind of dictionary provides synonyms, antonyms and related words? Thesaurus. In the library, which books we are not allowed to bring them out with ourselves? Closed reserve book. What material is used for most of vehicles and craft? Metal. A dozen is a grouping of which number? 12-inch. What is the name of the student who has not completed his course? Undergraduate student. Which part of our bodies do we use nasal spray in? Nose. What are the strings on shoes? Shoelace. What is the opposite of positive? Negative. What do you call the medicine that is used against headache? Painkiller. What is a word or expression that has the same or nearly the same meaning as another in the same language? Synonym. What is 1/2 of 100%, 50%? What does ophthalmologist specialize in? Eye operations. What kind of food that vegetarians do not eat? Meat. The instructions that tell you how to cook food. Recipe. Which kind of mountain can erupt lava? Volcano. What do we call the Times New Roman in Word? Typeface. What is the opposite word of stale? Fresh. Which is easier to be recycled, plastic or paper? Paper. If a couple have a pair of children, how many children do they have? 2-inch. What do we call the extra performance that actors give? Encore. What type of shape has 4 right corners, 4 lines that are equal in length? Square. What do we call a person who can speak 2 languages? Bilingual. What is the feature that guitars and violins have in common? String. What stellar system do the planets, such as Saturn, Jupiter, belong to? Solar system. What do we call a festival, which is held every 4 years gathering people together, as a sporting event? The Olympic Games. What does the sun do during dawn? Sunrise. Which one is quicker? Running, jogging or walking? Running. How many hemispheres does the equator divide Earth into? 2-inch. What is a thermometer used to measure? Temperature. What kind of drugs are used for killing bacteria? Antibiotics. What do we call a doctor who can sell prescribed medicines? Pharmacist. What do we call the first paragraph of a report? Introduction. What is the opposite of convex? Concave. Who is the Swiss greatest scientist in physics? Einstein. Oral English is different from academic English. Which is the best term to describe academic English, tolerant or rigorous? Rigorous. Which part of your leg can make it possible to bend? Knee. What will snow become after it melts? Water. Who sits in the cockpit of an airplane? Pilot. If you invented something, what can you apply for to prevent others copying your invention? Patent. What natural resource is used by a carpenter? Wood. In the word postgraduate, what does the post mean? After. Who is a physician who performs surgical operations? Surgeon. Before airplanes were invented, how did people travel from America to Europe? By ship. Which continent do China, India, Korea and Japan locate in? Asia. Which color do we make by blending black and white? Gray. What do the following belong to? Roses, daisies, tulip, etc. Flower. If you want to find the map of US, what type of book should you use? Atlas. How do you describe the money that citizens must contribute to the government for public use? Tax. What material is the tire made of? Rubber. Which literary genre describes all details of a famous person's life? Biography.